What's up, Culture Drop? Galen here. This video is about another question that came in from the feedback on like a Culture Drop subscriber, and it is, how do you prepare people, employees, for like a big change, a big policy change, something that may be unpopular, or like a big technology kind of rollout? How do you prepare people for that? And I have some thoughts. When it comes to change management practices, there's a lot of kind of stuff out there. I think there's a lot of research to do and a lot of sort of best practices that help with getting buy-in and things like that. These are the things I think are important. Number one, I think it's very important to be proactive and communicate in advance. Here's this thing coming, right? Not to surprise people at the last minute and do all this prep work and like be like, surprise! I think it's important to like let people know so they can get used to the idea and then provide an opportunity for feedback, input, or whatever. But I think it's important to like say, hey, here's this time, here's what this thing is gonna be, here's an opportunity when we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna gather some feedback, whatever the process is. I think letting people know instead of just like, guess what? Huge change as of right now. I think it's nice to prepare people. That being said, the part two of this is when we're rolling that out, especially if we think that it might be unpopular or we know it's gonna be a big lift for the organization, we're completely swapping our computer systems or whatever. I think it's great to give people an opportunity to be like, here's what's coming, this is what's gonna happen, open up a feedback loop. And that might not be, we don't have to set it up as leadership to say this is optional. Like your buy-in is optional. I love that from Cy Wakeman. She's like, buy-in is not optional when it comes to change. I think that's important that we let people know this is happening. We're not getting feedback to be like, should we do this or not? This is happening. But what we'll need from you is what are things that we might not see? What are some pitfalls? What are some challenges? And also getting a sense, like taking people's temperature, what are things that you might be like concerned about? What are challenges that you see coming down? If we know what those things are, we have an opportunity to control the narrative by addressing those things. We're saying, hey, what things do we need to look out for as we're doing this? The context of this communication really depends on the size and scope of what you're doing, what you're rolling out, how many people it is gonna impact. But I do think it's important to say like, hey team, this is what's coming down the pipe. Knowing that here's the information that we have right now, or we're gonna have an opportunity for like some feedback at this point so that we can get some input from you. I think just like the opportunity to communicate and gather, whether that is like one-on-one with a meeting, depending on the size of the team, in a survey, just like what are some challenges? What are things that we need to look out for from your perspective? Like what is stuff that you wanna sort of communicate with us about this, understanding that this is not an optional change, this is definitely gonna happen. And then I think as it goes through, making sure that there's communication along the way. As we roll things out, if you're having challenges or issues, this is how to address them, this is who to connect with, right? That we're supporting people like through the change. Again, not because it's optional to buy in or not, and I think that has to be an important part of the narrative and the communication to people, but just like if you need support, if things go wrong, this is who to connect with. And then shortly after we're rolling it out and through the process, open a feedback loop. I think that's the other piece that's important is like, once we have it in place, 1 or 2 months, like what do you like about this that's different? What hadn't you anticipated? Are there any challenges or things that we're not seeing that you wanna like give us input or make us aware of from your perspective? I think those things are important. The feedback loop, the communication, being proactive and like supportive of people, but also it's important to let people know, be honest and vulnerable with people. This is going to be a little bit messy. It's gonna be a little bit chaotic. The idea that it's like, this is gonna be perfect, you're gonna love everything about it. It's like, no, this is gonna take us to a place, right? We're innovating a process, we're updating something that needs to be outdated. So communicating the why of the change is important. Like this is the benefit of this. Painting for people like a picture of like, what is Pleasure Island, right? What is it gonna look like when we get to the other end of this? What is this gonna make easier for us? People understanding the reason behind the change, I think is also important. I probably should have made that the very first point. But yeah, those are some of my thoughts about how to get people on board with those things. I think acknowledging, hey, this is going to be, it's not gonna be perfect. We're gonna support you through this. We're gonna get your feedback along the way, give you everything that you need so that you can thrive inside this new reality, which is going to be what is gonna happen for us. And these are the benefits of it. It's gonna be messy, but we're gonna look back and be like, oh, this is so much better. That's it. Be honest, be real, be authentic, be vulnerable, be proactive about communicating.
Action.
Harry wanted to do that for like 20 minutes. She was standing there with that book for an hour to be like, guys, I got this cool idea. So weird. That was cool. Can we start that? Thanks for watching and tuning in. Subscribe to our channel. We put a lot of content on here. You can also subscribe to the Culture Drop mailing list and get these emails in your inbox every Tuesday morning. Follow our social media channels. Put a lot of free content out about just being more awesome and building great teams.